everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Haley and I create content around fashion, lifestyle, travel and beauty. So if that's something you are interested in, do hit this subscribe button and join this happy community. We traveled from Singapore to Turkey and Georgia for 12 days and here is a complete guide on how you can plan your next trip to Turkey to make the most of your trip. I will be covering all of these topics in today's video. I will also provide you tips and tricks on how to save some money on this trip and stay tuned until the end for all the special tips and tricks. Now, speaking of visa, Turkey has two kinds of visa requirements. First is e-visa and another one is sticker visa. E-visa is basically if you have the residence permit or tourist visa for US, UK, Schengen or Ireland. They have like multiple list of countries. So if you have any of those countries visas, you can just simply apply for an e-visa on the Turkish e-visa portal, and you just have to submit a few documents like passport and your visa proof to the eligible countries, and you have to pay the e-visa fees of $45 and the visa will be processed within 24 hours. Now, if you do not have the visa for the eligible countries, you can apply for a sticker visa, and sticker visa basically takes up to 10 to 15 days. For sticker visa, you actually have to make an appointment with the Turkish consulate or embassy, and you have to go and apply for the sticker visa. Along with the application, you would require multiple documents that I have listed here, and just carry all the documents, submit the application, and just wait for 15 to 20 days for the visa to be processed. Now, with the Turkish visa, one bummer is that the Turkish visa fees is around 18,000 and the processing time is much longer than that of e-visa. So as an alternative, what you can do is you can actually apply for a US visa, because US visa are issued for a longer period of time. Like you can obtain your US visa for 5 to 10 years, and US visa is actually acceptable in a lot of other countries. So if you keep on traveling, it may be beneficial for you to apply for a US visa first and then apply for an e-visa for Turkey. That way you can save up money also, because the US visa application costs around 15,000 rupees, plus you can just pay the $50 application fees for the e-visa and obtain your Turkish visa. Now the only problem with that one is that the process will take much more longer. Like the US visa obtaining process may take up to 6 to 8 months, because the appointment with the US embassy for the visa may take longer period of time. So that is about the visa. Now coming on to flights, it is advisable to book your flight at least 2 to 3 months in advance. So you can opt for direct flights with Turkish Airlines or Indigo. Indigo has a lot of direct flights from New Delhi, and the cost will be around 30 to 50,000 depending on the season. Now coming on to Turkey itinerary, we were in Turkey for total of 6 days, and the first 2 days we were in Istanbul. Where to stay? You can opt to stay around Sultan Ahmet area, which is like the most prominent area in Turkey, which is in close proximity to a lot of tourist attractions and a lot of hotels, restaurants, cafes, all those things. So you can opt for any kind of accommodation. A lot of prominent hotels like Four Seasons is also located in that area. So you can find, like if you are a budget traveler, you can find accommodations for as low as 1,000 to 3,000 rupees per night. Now coming on to commutation, you can actually book Uber or Bitsaki, which is a local app there. But I feel that the cab scene in Istanbul is a bit of scam. Like they always ask you to pay extra money, and they actually don't provide you convenience. Like they would ask you to go to them instead of coming to you. So after a long travel and a tiring day, it might be a bit of pain. Instead, public transportation is much more convenient and it's very well connected. So you can opt for metro, tram or buses. You can opt for a travel card, which can be issued from a kiosk at the airport or at the public transportation areas. Like the bus stops, the tram stations all have these kiosks where you can get the travel card issued, and that travel card can actually be used for public transportation as well as to buy tickets for the tourist attractions. Now you have to pay a base fee of 70 to 100 lira, that is around 150 to 200 rupees, and you can top it up using the same kiosk, or there is a mobile app which you can use to top up. Now, Turkish currency is actually Turkish lira. 1 lira is equal to 2.37 Indian rupees, and we did the currency exchange from a local shop in Istanbul. We also used 0% forex card wherever they were accepting the cards. I would advise you to carry euros or US dollars if possible, because that is accepted at a lot of different places, and then it's easier to get it exchanged also. Now, Istanbul, day one, we covered the Galata Tower, which is on the European side of Istanbul. And then on the Asia side, there are more prominent locations like Hagia Sophia, Blue Mosque, Bosphorus River Cruise, Basilica Cistern, and then after covering this for the whole day on day one, we went for a Turkish hammam. Now, I highly recommend you go for a Turkish hammam. On day two, we visited the Topkapi Palace and the Grand Bazaar. And I would advise you to indulge in some local shopping while you are in Turkey, because they have amazing local delicacies, jewelry, handmade items, dupes of designer bags, sunglasses. So you can have great deals in Istanbul if you are into shopping. And while you are in Istanbul, don't forget to indulge in local delicacies, as food there is amazing. Try to book attractions like Galata Tower, Bosphorus River Cruise, and Topkapi Palace in advance, because the queues may be long at times and that gets really inconvenient to stand in long queues. So if you are booked online beforehand, it gets very easier. Like, you can go through your day really fast and enter the attractions without any hassle. Now, on day three, we took a flight from Istanbul to Denzili. Denzili is the nearest airport to reach to Pamukkale. From Denzili to Pamukkale, our hotel had arranged for a pickup for us. Like, it was a bus, it was a combined pickup. And the next morning, we headed straight to Hierapolis, which is like Cotton Castle and Cleopatra thermal pools. Now, all these places are located into single premises, and the place opens at around 6:30 a.m. and ticket costs around 30 euros. You can actually buy tickets directly from the entry gate. And if you want to enjoy the place without excessive crowd, I would advise you to reach there earlier. Like, we reached at around 6:45 a.m. and by the time it was 9:30, we saw a lot of tours coming in, so it gets really crowded, and it also starts getting hot because we were there in the summertime, like in June month, and it was really hot after 9:30, 10. So I would advise you to reach there as early as possible to enjoy the place without excessive crowds. Now, for the Cleopatra's thermal pools, which is also another attraction within the Hierapolis ancient city. Thermal pools is basically like, Apollo gifted Cleopatra the thermal pools, which actually has the ruins from the Apollo's estate in the 19th century, and you can actually swim into it. Plus, this pools has natural thermal water, so the water is naturally warm at 38 degrees Celsius. So it can be very comforting and it can be a great experience. Like, you are actually like literally swimming amongst the history, because this pool has a lot of ruins from Apollo's time. So it's a great experience, and they have the locker services as well. So you can keep your stuff into the locker while you take a swim into the thermal pools, and apparently it has a lot of health benefits also. So I would advise you to indulge into that. Remember to carry a swimming costume to take a dip into Cleopatra's thermal pools. Day 4, 5, and 6 we spent in the most magical place, that is Cappadocia. There are actually two airports in Cappadocia, Kayseri and Nevşehir. I will list it here. We took a flight from Izmir, that is Pamukkale, to Kayseri airport, and usually the hotels and Airbnbs provide pickup from the airport for free or with nominal charges. I would recommend you stay in one of the cave hotels in Cappadocia in the Yuruk or Goreme regions. I will list it here, as these towns offer views of the valleys where the hot air balloons usually fly. You can find decent cave hotels for anywhere between 5,000 to 15,000 Indian rupees. And main attraction in Cappadocia, of course, is a hot air balloon ride. Now, cost of hot air balloon ride is usually around 200 to 250 euros, depending on the operator you choose and the season that you are traveling traveling there. Now, we had booked Discovery Balloons, which is one of the most prominent hot air balloon operators there. I will leave a link to book the same in description below if you want to check it out. You can also get a hot air balloon photo shoot, which costs around 350 to 450 euros, but I skipped it because I found it way too expensive. It is actually exaggerated. I would advise you to keep at least 3 days in hand in Cappadocia because balloon flights happen depending on weather, and there are high probabilities of your balloon ride getting cancelled due to bad weather. It is usually the last moment cancellation. So if you have buffer, you can actually ensure that you have this experience while you are in Cappadocia. Now, if your flight gets cancelled, you get a full refund. When we went there, our flight got cancelled on day one, but luckily, the second day the flights were resumed, and we were lucky to experience the most magical morning of our life. And also, the hot air balloon ride happens at the sunrise time, so be prepared to wake up early, get ready, and be picked up by 4 a.m. in the morning. Apart from hot air balloon ride, you can also do a green tour and red tour. You can add these tours to your itinerary, and it includes a lot of different attractions. In my opinion, green tour is better than red tour because the green tour mostly covers all the prominent tourist spots in Cappadocia. Now, at around sunset time, you can go for an ATV ride, which actually takes you through the valleys and several tourist spots that are actually covered in the red tour. So what happened with us is we took the red tour, and then in the evening, at the time of ATV ride, we actually went again to the same places. So if you take an ATV ride, you can actually skip the red tour. So that is one advice to save your money on red tour. Now, apart from that, the ATV ride actually lasts for 2 hours. It costs around 60 to 70 euros, but it provides stunning sunset views. So you are in Cappadocia, you must experience one of these ATV tours, and you can also experience a dinner at one of the many rooftop restaurants. We went to Artemis Cafe, which provided like stunning views of Cappadocia. Like it was just like you are on some other planet. Here are some of the tips to save money while you travel to Turkey. First one is walk as much as possible in Istanbul because like the public transportation is good, but like walking is the best way you can explore this city. Hotels in Cappadocia, secondly, is generally more expensive than Istanbul and Pamukkale. So try to save as much as you can on your stays in Pamukkale and Istanbul, because you are going to have to spend in a stay in Cappadocia. Thirdly, you can bargain a lot while shopping in places like Grand Bazaar. They try to loot the tourists, so don't shy away from trying your negotiation skills and bargain as much as possible. I also wanted to highlight a few other things. Try to book hot air balloon ride at sunrise time in advance because the tickets get sold out quite often, especially for the sunrise hot air balloon rides. But I would highly recommend you book only sunrise hot air balloon ride because the experience is magical and outstanding. Secondly, carry comfortable shoes and be ready to walk around 15 to 20,000 steps daily, especially in Istanbul. Third, also carry light woolens even if you feel that there won't be any cold and you are traveling during the summertime. The nights and mornings get chilly even during the summers. We went there in June and the temperatures went down to 10 degrees during nights and early mornings. So carry light woolens. Fourth, opt for a hotel that serves Turkish breakfast, especially in Cappadocia, because two reasons. Firstly, it's not very convenient to go looking for a breakfast in the morning before your day trip starts in Cappadocia. And secondly, you have to experience a Turkish breakfast spread because they have a lot of different cheese, olives, marmalades, local fruits, and the local fruits are just so amazing. So that's something I want everyone to experience. Fifth, we skipped Antalya because we were short on time, but it is stunning coastal city with great nightlife, amazing beaches, and super chill, relaxed vibe. So do cover cover that if you have some time. And the best season to travel to Turkey is usually springtime around April to June. Like the months of April to June are considered best because it is comfortable temperature, and if you want to avoid crowds you can also opt to travel around autumn time, that is around September to November. This season has fewer crowds and still comfortable temperatures before winter kicks off. Winter months are usually December to February. Those are snowy and magical, but hotter balloon rides face up to 30 to 50% higher cancellations, so less likely for you to be able to experience hotter balloon ride during winters. And summer months like July to August are super hot in Istanbul and Pamukkale, especially. It's a great time if you want to visit beach town of Antalya. You can plan during this time. And if your focus is solely into hot air balloon ride, then the best months to travel are definitely between April to June, that is springtime, and September to November, that is the autumn time. Now, coming on to total expenses, you can plan a comfortable trip somewhere between 60 to 80K per person for 6 to 7 days. And yeah, our total expenses came down to around 1,30,000 per person for the entire trip of 6 days. And we actually were, bit comfortable with our stays and everything. But yeah, you can definitely opt for hostels. Hostels are also great. The Airbnbs are also great in Istanbul. In fact, we ourselves booked a very nice Airbnb in Istanbul. And also in Pamukkale, we opted for a hotel that was reasonably priced, but it was quite decent. So yeah, just try to save up as much as you can, and I hope you have a great trip. With that, we have reached to the end of this video. I hope this video was helpful for you to plan your next trip to Turkey. And if you have any other concerns or queries, do let me know in the comment section below, and I will make sure to help you out as much as possible. I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.